Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Donald Trump says US launches deadly strike against Islamic State terrorists in northwest Nigeria, accuses ISIS of viciously killing innocent Christians. US confirms Nigerian government support for strikes. Violence against Hindus continues unabated in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina accuses Yunus regime of unspeakable torture of minorities in Christmas address. President Draupadi Murmu to confer Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar on the occasion of Veer Bal Diwas in New Delhi. In sports, India to take on Sri Lanka in the third Women's T20 International in Thiruvananthapuram, was 2-0 ahead in the series. And torrential rains and storm hit Southern California on Christmas, brings deluge and debris flow, forcing evacuation. The United States carried out an airstrike against Islamic State terrorists in Nigeria on Christmas night. US President Trump, in a social media post, said that forces conducted deadly strikes against ISIS terrorists in northwestern Nigeria and vowed more such attacks if the terrorists keep killing Christians. Trump hailed US military for executing numerous perfect strikes. The strike comes after Trump, starting in late October, began warning that Christianity faces an existential threat in Nigeria and threatened to militarily intervene in the West African country over what he says is its failure to stop violence targeting Christian communities. The US military's Africa Command said the strike was carried out in Sokoto state at the request of the Nigerian authorities and killed multiple ISIS terrorists. US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth also praised his department's readiness to take action in Nigeria and said he was grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Meanwhile, Nigeria's foreign ministry said the strikes were carried out as part of the ongoing security cooperation with the United States involving intelligence sharing and strategic coordination to target ISIS. The foreign ministry said in a statement that Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre has more information on this. Is joining us live from Delhi. Hi, Akshay. What is known about the coordination between the US military and Nigerian forces, especially after Pete Hegseth publicly thanked the Nigerian government for its cooperation?
Well, firstly, it signals a shift in the stance of the United States of America, which has been targeting the Nigerian government as well, just a month back, for not doing enough to safeguard the lives of Christians and the Christian community, along with other minorities in the country that were under constant attacks from terror groups like ISIS, Boko Haram, and other smaller proxies of these groups. So now Pete Hegseth coming out openly thanking the government of Nigeria clearly signals a shift in the stance of even the Nigerian government as well as the US administration that have found a way to cooperate on this issue. And it seems that the sort of coordinated strikes that have been conducted by the US had the permission obviously, of the Nigerian government, and that perhaps is the reason why the kind of sort of bonhomie that we are seeing on this front is quite visible right now. But it also has to be seen in the context of the changing political landscape of Nigeria that has been tried to avoid itself from coming in between of two communities there as far as coming out and seemingly becoming a target of these terror groups as well. But it seems that certain assurances have been given by the US military that the interest of the Nigerian government will also be safeguarded as far as the operations are concerned. And that's why the official confirmation has also come in, perhaps to also not make the Nigerian government look bad as far as its own population is concerned, who would have questioned the legitimacy of the government itself if US would have carried out these strikes without even the permission of the Nigerian government.
Also, Akshay, from a regional perspective, what do you think? How significant is this development for counter-terror operations in West Africa?
Well, quite significant because, Abhishek, what we have seen so far, if you take the history of the last 2 decades, US has intervened militarily in several of the countries, but most of them have been in the region of West Asia for us and Middle East for them, as they call it. Be it Syria, be it Libya, you talk about other kind of countries such as Afghanistan, Iraq, and other nations where US has sent in troops. US has attacked using drones and military strikes, saying that the government has failed to take concrete action against terror outfits that are operating out of there, calling the regimes there as failed governments and so on. But if you take a similar kind of an action inside a country like Nigeria, that is considered perhaps one of the wealthiest country or the biggest economy of Africa, perhaps one of the leaders of the African continent with a large population, and a democratic setup, then obviously there's a shifting stance as far as the sort of military outreach of the US is concerned, because even the Nigerian military could have carried out these attacks if there would have been a better coordination in terms of sharing this intel. But it seems that the US wanted to take this action, and now also the communal color that is being given to this action against terror outfit that is not only attacking Christians but other minority groups as well. It is also killing Muslims. It is also killing other communities, because it does not distinguish when it comes to attacking people. That being said, highlighting of this issue is particularly being done from the United States side, that Christianity and the Christian lives are at stake, and that is the reason why US is intervening militarily. So that is also a shifting of stance as far as US's military policy is concerned.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Shifting focus now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a phone conversation with US envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner to discuss the end to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky stressed that Ukraine is working around the clock to bring closer the end to the conflict and to ensure that all documents and steps are realistic, effective and reliable. He said the two sides discussed certain substantive details of the ongoing work, and they have good ideas that can work towards a shared outcome and the lasting peace. He expressed the hope that the understandings and the ideas discussed between the two sides can be useful. Zelensky added that Rustem Umerov, head of the Ukrainian negotiating delegation and Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, held follow-up communication with Witkoff and Kushner.
There are good ideas that we discussed. There are some new ideas on how to bring the real peace closer, and it concerns formats, meetings, and certainly the timeline. Some documents are already prepared. Of course, there is still work to be done on sensitive issues, but together with the American team, we understand how to ensure this.
And the latest development came after Zelensky has recently unveiled a 20-point draft peace plan, which was agreed on by US and Ukrainian negotiators and is being reviewed by Russia. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia is analyzing the documents on ending the ongoing Ukraine conflict. Earlier, Peskov said Dmitriev had briefed President Vladimir Putin on the outcomes of his trip to Miami.
Regarding the peace plan, we are analyzing that Dmitry conveyed to Putin. We are analyzing this material, and then, depending on the decision made by the head of state, we will continue our communication with the Americans. We saw the report about Zelensky's truly strange Christmas address yesterday. It was uncivilized and embittered. He seems like an inadequate person.
The Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said that negotiations with the United States are progressing slowly but steadily. She said that Russia is ready to continue working within the framework defined at the highest level in Anchorage, referring to a summit between President Putin and President Donald Trump in Alaska this August. Zakharova also accused Western European states of top-doing the diplomatic progress. She also added that Russia is ready to formally state in a written document that it has no intention to attack NATO or EU countries.
In the negotiation process on a settlement of the Ukraine conflict, I mean in the negotiation process with the United States, there is a slow but steady progress. It is accompanied, as it has already been repeatedly said, by highly harmful and even malicious attempts by a group of countries, primarily Eastern European ones, to torpedo these efforts and derail the whole diplomatic progress that has been achieved. In a dialogue with the American administration, we constantly call on our colleagues to actively counter this destructive process.
Moving on, Venezuelan authorities have released at least 60 prisoners who were arrested during protests against President Nicolas Maduro's re-election in 2024. The releases were reported months after widespread demonstrations erupted following President Maduro's victory in July 2024 election, which was marred by allegations of fraud. Security forces detained roughly 2,400 people during the unrest, though nearly 2,000 have since been freed. According to the Committee for the Freedom of Political Prisoners, the latest releases began early on Christmas Day, and the conditions under which the prisoners were released has not been disclosed. Residents of Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, cast their ballots in municipal elections that marked a significant step towards the East African nation's first direct national polls in more than half a century. Somalia had not held direct elections since 1969, months before military general Mohammad Siad Barre seized power in a coup. Since Barre's fall in 1991 and the civil war that followed, the country has relied on an indirect voting system introduced in 2004 to foster consensus among rival clans amid an Islamist insurgency. Under that arrangement, clan representatives elect lawmakers who then choose the president. The president has traditionally appointed Mogadishu's mayor. About 1,605 candidates competed for 390 seats on district councils, according to Abdi Shakur Habib Hayer of the National Electoral Commission. The elected council members will now select the city's next mayor. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Malaysia's Najib Razak to face verdict in Mega 1MDB graft trial. South Korea prosecutor seeks 10-year jail term for ex-president Yoon. 21 years on, the 2004 tsunami remains one of the deadliest disasters. We get you a detailed report after the break.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Read India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Amid spiraling violence against minorities in Bangladesh, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in a Christmas speech, has attacked the Yunus regime and said that the current ruling group has seized illegal power and is now subjecting minorities to unspeakable torture. Hasina reminded its citizens that Bangladesh had always been a shining example of communal harmony in recent past. She said the father of the nation dreamt of a non-communal Bangladesh, and her party, Bangladesh Awami League, has ensured the smooth living of people of all religions to realize that dream. However, citing the current political climate, she noted that the current ruling group that has seized illegal power is interfering with the freedom of people of all religions and communities to practice their own religion. Regarding the lynching of minorities, she highlighted that non-Muslims are subjected to unspeakable torture under the current regime. She added that it has also created examples of atrocities such as burning of religious minorities. She believes that the people of Bangladesh will not allow this difficult time to continue and that the Christmas spirit will strengthen the harmony between Christians and other religions in Bangladesh. Violence against Hindus continues unabated in Bangladesh. A 30-year-old youth, Amrit Mondal, also known as Samrat, was killed by a mob on Wednesday night in Rajabari district over alleged extortion. Police rescued him in critical condition, but he died at Pasha Upzila Health Complex around 2 a.m. Authorities arrested his associate Mohammad Salim and recovered firearms. Samrat was reportedly a gang leader with multiple criminal cases, including murder. The incident occurred when locals caught him attempting to extort a villager, prompting a mob attack. An investigation is still ongoing. All right, DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us on the phone line from Dhaka. Naval Sangh, another Hindu man lynched in Bangladesh's Rajbari. Any clarity if he was targeted because of his religion? And what did Bangladesh government say about Amrit Mondal's lynching?
Well, the incident occurred day before yesterday, and still now there are independent sources as well as media is reporting that the mob lynching has happened, but there was no communal angle in the event.
Okay.
He was having a group of people in which there were a Muslim also with him. So,
Okay.
and one of the person who has been arrested, he is his associate, and he is from Muslim community. So it was a kind of a criminal criminal angle was there, not a communal.
Okay.
As per the independent source as well as local media. Still now there is no any reports of having a communal angle in the incident.
Also, Naval Sangh, Sheikh Hasina, in her Christmas message, she has accused the interim government of seizing power illegally and highlighted rising attacks on minorities. What do these statements reveal about the current political and the situation overall in Bangladesh?
Well, as far as the first part of your question is the seizure of illegal power, yes, it is clear that the current administration do not have a mandate of the people. It was it was the event which happened in July, August 2024. In that condition, she has to left the country. And then after there was a mobocracy and huge upheaval among the people of Bangladesh. There was some, and after that, the Yunus administration took the control of this administration in Bangladesh, supported by the various political parties as well as some fundamentalist group who were involved in the upheaval against her. So, in some way, it is not a legitimate government, and at the same time, they don't command the respect as well as the control over the administration. That is true. And some of the political parties or organizations who supported Yunus administration at the beginning, they are also now criticizing it that they are failed to deliver regarding the expectation of the people. So people were expected a lot more from a Nobel laureate like Muhammad Yunus, but he is a Nobel laureate in peace, but there is no peace at all in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
That is true. Second thing, regarding the attacks on minority. So in Bangladesh, it is a history, irrespective of the government of any political party, there were a atrocity against the minority of all religion. It may be Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, or maybe in hill or plain. There it was there. But when there is a lawlessness, there is a vacuum in the law and order situation. In that condition, the fundamentalists become rampant in the condition of impunity. So this is the case. It was there in her tenure also. It is a fact that maximum land grabbing happened during the Sheikh Hasina's tenure from the minority community.
All right, Nawal Sangh, yeah, please go on.
Yeah, so minorities subjected to atrocity in Bangladesh, and this administration, Yunus administration, is totally failed to provide safety and security to minority, and there is a now secular forces as well as the civil society is also blaming this administration for their failure to provide safety and security to the people.
Which has been a major concern also in Bangladesh, and which people, general public is talking about also. Thank you for the time being, Nawal Sangh, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on, Malaysia's former Prime Minister Najib Razak will face judgment on Friday for his alleged involvement in Malaysia's development Berhad mega graft scandal. Najib Razak faces 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering relating to the plunder of hundreds of millions of dollars from the Southeast Asian nation's 1MDB sovereign wealth fund, sparking probes in several countries. The former PM is already serving a 6-year jail term after a conviction in a separate case relating to the 1MDB fund, and will face more years behind the bar if found guilty. Let's now take a look at the timeline explaining his role in the 1MDB scandal. The controversy began in 2009 when Najib launched One Malaysia Development Berhad, a state investment fund. In 2012, his stepson used 1MDB funds to buy luxury paintings and produce a Hollywood film. By 2013, 1MDB's debt began to balloon, raising public concern. In 2014, the fund's missing billions sparked alarm. In 2015, reports revealed at least $681 million had been funneled into Najib's personal accounts. Scandals involving a French submarine deal and the murder of Altan Tuya Sharibu also highlighted alleged corruption under his tenure. Najib's coalition lost the 2018 election, paving the way for Mahathir Mohamad's return as Prime Minister. Between 2019 and 2020, Goldman Sachs and employees were charged over 1MDB bond sales, bribery and misleading investors. In 2020, Najib was sentenced to 12 years in prison over SRC International, 1MDB subsidiary. Asset recovery continued, with the US Department of Justice returning $1.4 billion in 2024, and in August 2025, JP Morgan paid a $330 million settlement related to the scandal. On December 22nd, Najib's bid for house arrest was denied ahead of key 1MDB verdict that could add further jail time. The case remains a stark reminder of one of Malaysia's largest financial scandals. Shifting focus now, Myanmar will hold a third phase of voting for its general election on January 25th. According to an announcement on state media, the ruling junta said the third phase of polling will be held in 63 of the country's 330 townships. The first 2 phases of voting are set to take place on December 28 and January 11, covering a total of 202 townships out of a total of 330. Dates for the counting of votes and the announcement of election results have not yet been declared. Junta Chief Min Aung Hlaing has previously acknowledged that the election will not be held nationwide, with the military continuing to fight an armed resistance that has strengthened since a 2021 coup. Now, South Korea's special prosecutor on Friday sought a 10-year prison sentence for former President Yoon Suk Yeol on obstruction of justice charges linked to his declaration of martial law last year. The request was made during the closing hearing of Yoon's trial, the first to reach the sentencing stage among 4 criminal cases related to his short-lived declaration of martial law on the 3rd of December in 2024. Prosecutors have accused the ousted president of trying to block investigators seeking to arrest him in January by barricading himself inside the presidential compound. Yoon has denied the charges, having been removed from office in April through an impeachment ruling. He is currently detained at a correctional facility outside Seoul. The court is expected to deliver its verdict around January 16. Our global weather updates now. Heavy rain triggered flash floods and mud flows across southern California, disrupting life during the Christmas period. Torrential rain caused widespread flash flooding across southern California, with rivers swelling and mud and debris covering roads. Authorities warned people to avoid travel and urged residents to flood-prone areas to evacuate or shelter in place. In San Bernardino County, residents were rescued by helicopter after floodwaters stranded them on rooftops. The U.S. National Weather Service said storm was expected to continue, creating dangerous conditions. While in India, winter weather continues to affect large parts of the country as dense fog and cold wave conditions disrupt normal life, while fresh snowfall in the hills has brought cheer, drawing tourists who are soaking in the season's wintry charm. According to Indian Met Department, dense to very dense fog has prompted red and orange warnings across several districts of Uttar Pradesh. Visibility dropped below 50 meters in places like Lucknow, Varanasi and Prayagraj, while many other districts remain under dense fog conditions impacting movement and safety. Dense fog shrouded parts of the national capital early morning, with low visibility reported around India Gate and nearby areas as cold conditions persisted. Minimal fog was reported in Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad during early hours, with mild winter conditions prevailing across the city. Fresh snowfall in the higher reaches of Anantnag has brought tourists back to Pahalgam. Visitors enjoyed scenic views and pony rides, while locals welcomed renewed tourism activity. On Thursday morning, Srinagar woke up to sub-zero temperatures yet again at -2.2 degrees Celsius. Locals clung to kangris, personal charcoal-fired heaters, while tourists wrapped themselves in heavy jackets to cope with the cold. Snow-covered Gulmarg attracted tourists seeking a white winter experience, with visitors enjoying skiing and festive scenery. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. PM Modi to participate in the program marking Veer Bal Diwas. Indian Railways rationalize passenger fare structure. Srinagar's Dal Lake came alive with festive cheer as tourists soaked in Christmas Keva Fest, blending local culture with holiday spirit. Recap of our top stories. Donald Trump says US launches deadly strike against Islamic State terrorists in northwest Nigeria, accuses ISIS of viciously killing innocent Christians. US confirms Nigerian government support for strikes. Violence against Hindus continues unabated in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina accuses Yunus regime of unspeakable torture of minorities in Christmas address. President Draupadi Murmu confers Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar on the occasion of Veer Bal Diwas in New Delhi. And in sports, India to take on Sri Lanka in the third Women's T20 International in Thiruvananthapuram, post 2-0 ahead in the series. And torrential rains and storm hit Southern California on Christmas, brings deluge and debris flow, forcing evacuation. President Draupadi Murmu conferred the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar on the occasion of Veer Bal Diwas in New Delhi on Friday. This year, 20 children from 18 states and union territories have been selected for this honour who have demonstrated outstanding achievements in diverse fields, including bravery, sports and social service. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also address the children and youth at a national level program of Veer Bal Diwas. The program, organized in New Delhi, will highlight stories of bravery, resilience and selfless service. The program will also witness cultural performances showcasing the country's rich civilizational heritage and the spirit of bravery. Awardees of the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar will also be present during the program. Prime Minister Modi on Friday paid tribute to the Sahibzades on the occasion of Veer Bal Diwas, remembering their sacrifice and courage. In a social media post, PM Modi wrote, and I quote him here, Veer Bal Diwas is a day of reverence dedicated to remembering the sacrifice of the brave Sahibzades. We recall the unshakable faith of Mata Gujri Ji and the immortal teachings of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. This day is associated with courage, conviction and righteousness. Their lives and ideals will continue to motivate people for generations. Unquote. And Veer Bal Diwas is being observed today to honour the martyrdom of Baba Fateh Singh and Baba Zorawar Singh, the Sahibzade of 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. In January 2022, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that December 26 would be observed as Veer Bal Diwas, making it India's first national day dedicated to honouring the courage and sacrifices of children.
Veer Bal Diwas stands as a powerful reminder of courage, faith and supreme sacrifice. Observed every year on the 26th of December, the day commemorates the martyrdom of Sahibzada Zorawar Singh and Sahibzada Fateh Singh, the younger sons of the 10th Sikh Guru, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji. The roots of Veer Bal Diwas traces back to December 1705, a tragic chapter in Indian history. During the Mughal reign, the two young Sahibzadas, just 9 and 6 years old, were captured by the Mughal governor of Sirhind Wazir Khan. They were subjected to immense pressure and offered wealth and safety to abandon their faith. Yet, with extraordinary resolve beyond their age, they refused to compromise their beliefs. Their unwavering stand led to their brutal martyrdom as they were pricked alive, choosing faith and truth over fear. Recognizing this unparalleled bravery, in January 2022, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on the occasion of Prakash Purab of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, announced that 26th of December will be observed as Veer Bal Diwas, and now it is India's first national day dedicated to honouring the sacrifices of these children. Veer Bal Diwas is not just a day of remembrance, it is a source of inspiration. It urges the nation, especially the youth, to uphold values of courage, integrity, resilience and moral strength. Tripti Tripathi's report for DD India.
Renowned sand artist Manas Sahu has created a sand sculpture at eastern India's famous Puri beach to pay tributes to the Sahibzades, the son of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Sikh Guru. Veer Bal Diwas is observed every year on December 26 to honour the extraordinary courage and supreme sacrifice of the four Sahibzadas. Now, India has been selected to chair the UN-backed Kimberley Process from January 1st, 2026, marking the third time it will lead the global diamond certification body. India's selection as chair of the Kimberley Process reinforces its standing among diamond-producing nations, trading centers, industry bodies and civil society, and reflects its growing role in international trade governance. Announcing the development on X, Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said India's leadership will focus on building consumer confidence in conflict-free diamonds and strengthening transparency and accountability across the diamond supply chain. The Indian Railways has rationalized its passenger fare structure with effect from Friday, with the objective of balancing affordability for passengers and sustainability of operations. Here's a look at the key details. There's no fare increase for suburban services and season tickets, including both suburban and non-suburban routes. Second-class ordinary passengers will also see no change in fares for journeys up to 215 kilometers, protecting short distance and daily commuters. For longer second-class ordinary journeys, fares rise modestly, ₹5 for 216 to 750 kilometers, ₹10 for 751 to 1,250 kilometers, ₹15 for 1,251 to 1,750 kilometers, and ₹20 for 1,751 kilometers to 2,250 kilometers. In sleeper class ordinary and first class ordinary non-suburban, fares have been revised by just 1 paise per kilometer, ensuring a gradual and limited impact. For mail and express trains, the fare increase across both AC and non-AC classes has been capped at 2 paise per kilometer. For example, on a 500-kilometer journey, passengers will pay only around ₹10 extra. No changes have been made to reservation fees, superfast charges or other ancillary charges. GST applicability and fare rounding rules also remain unchanged. Tickets booked earlier will not be affected even for travel after the new fares come into effect. Moving on, a new book by senior civil servant Shashi Ranjan Kumar was recently published to help readers learn about and understand India's civilization and history from an Indian perspective. Titled The Decline of Hindu Civilization, the book provides a detailed account of the achievements of ancient Indian civilization.
Confusion about achievements of our past. Some people tend to exaggerate it, some people tend to undermine it. My attempt has been to accurately portray our achievements in various fields. And especially I have chosen fields such as astronomy, mathematics, medicine, aesthetics, statecraft, etc. Also, I have attempted to show that Hindu civilization, and I use the word Hindu in the broadest sense, which includes all Indic traditions like Jainism, Buddhism, etc. How the civilization spread through half of the then known world. We all know it, China, Japan, Southeast Asia, without having to send a single soldier. And then in later part of my book, I go into its decline and the reason for its decline.
Prayagraj 2025 Maha Kumbh marked a milestone year for the holy city, drawing over 65 crore devotees from India and abroad. The mega event boosted global spiritual tourism, upgraded infrastructure and restored heritage sites. Locals say new livelihoods and a renewed global identity continue to benefit the city long after the fair ended.
2025 was momentous for the holy city of Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh as it hosted the grand Hindu religious fair, the Maha Kumbh, at the beginning of the year. The event, which drew an estimated over 65 crore devotees from across India and around the world, firmly placed the city on the global map of spiritual tourism.
प्रयागराज की तो अपनी पहचान है ही है, सदियों से, नए युगों से ही है, क्योंकि बहुत प्राचीन नगरी है ये और संगम है, गंगा यमुना सरस्वती 12 माधव है ना, और लेटे हनुमान जी, माता आलोप शंकरी शक्तिपीठ भी यहाँ है। तो लेकिन जो पिछले वाला 2025 का जो कुंभ पर्व है वो अपने आप में एक अद्वितीय रहा। आज तक इतने श्रद्धालु शायद ही कभी आए हों, है ना। अब हमारे संज्ञान में तो नहीं है कि इतने श्रद्धालु कभी आए होंगे।
Many believe the city's transformation was aided by the development of infrastructure that matched global standards.
देखिए, अगर 2025 कुंभ की उपयोगिता देखा जाए तो सबसे पहले तो प्रयागराज के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दिया है और इतना ज़्यादा बजट दे दिया कि प्रयागराज का बहुत सारा विकास हुआ है, सड़कें हुई हैं, कॉरिडोर बने हैं। एक तो ये हुआ। दूसरा, प्रयागराज पर्यटन के नक्शे पर बहुत सशक्त हुआ है कि लोगों ने इसको वैश्विक स्तर पर, प्रयागराज के इस महाकुंभ को वैश्विक स्तर पर बहुत प्रचारित और प्रसारित किया। पूरी दुनिया से लोग आए, पूरी दुनिया जैसे उमड़ पड़ी थी।
For some locals, it was not just the infrastructure development, but also the focus on renovating the city's heritage that has since been a major draw for visitors.
पिछले वर्ष अगर देखा जाए तो जिस समय महाकुंभ का आयोजन हुआ उसके बाद इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर इस शहर को एक विशेष पहचान मिली है और काशी और अयोध्या के साथ प्रयागराज खड़ा हो गया है। पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में बहुत विस्तार हुआ है। 12 जो मंदिर हैं उनका कायाकल्प किया गया है। जो यहाँ पर परिक्रमा पहले चलती थी, पंचकोशी परिक्रमा, उसके लिए नए सिरे से प्रयास किया गया है। मंदिरों का एक कॉरिडोर बना दिया गया है।
Hosting the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj also created new livelihood opportunities. Many tourism-driven small businesses found space as crores of devotees visited the city for the religious fair.
इस तरह से आर्थिक पक्ष की अगर बात करें तो तमाम रोजगार उस समय सृजित हुए नए, जो कि आज भी चल रहे हैं। कई सारे अगर आप नोटिस करेंगे बनारस या फिर बनारस से इलाहाबाद रूट पे, तो लगभग कई सौ नए रेस्टोरेंट्स, होटल्स ये सब ओपन हुए, खुले, जो कि लगभग कमोबेश युवा ही खोलते हैं और ओपन किए, चला रहे हैं, आज भी चला रहे हैं।
Long after the 2025 Mahakumbh concluded, many local residents say Prayagraj continues to benefit from its lasting impact. They firmly believe improved infrastructure, stronger local livelihoods, and a renewed global identity have firmly positioned the city as a leading spiritual destination.
Srinagar's Dal Lake came alive with festive cheer as tourists soaked in the Christmas Keva Fest, blending local culture with holiday spirit. Tourists enjoyed Kashmiri traditions at the day-long Christmas Keva Fest on Thursday. Organized by the Tourism Department, the event highlighted Keva tea and local hospitality, adding a unique cultural flavor to Dal Lake tourism. And it's been 21 years since the 2004 tsunami struck and the world awoke to one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern history. India was one of the many nations affected in the Indian Ocean region. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya brings you an in-depth look at the nation's readiness to tackle future tsunamis.
Two decades ago, on December 26, 2004, a powerful 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck near Indonesia, causing a deadly tsunami. It affected India's coastal areas. The massive waves claimed around 228,000 lives and caused nearly $10 billion in damage. With no warning systems in place, most victims had no time to escape. India's public broadcaster Doordarshan was quick to respond during the 2004 tsunami. As information dissemination was crucial, they played a vital role in covering rescue efforts directly from the disaster zone.
This place has become a graveyard. The silence of death is all around, and even the sound of the sea cannot drown the silence.
In response to this tragedy, the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System was created to monitor seismological changes and issue alerts for impending waves. It receives real-time data from national and international networks, detecting earthquakes of magnitude 6 or greater within just minutes. Key sensors in the deep ocean confirm the triggering of a tsunami.
After this tragic event, which took about 230,000 lives and then impacted so many countries within the region, so the UN gave the mandate, provided the mandate to UNESCO's IOC to establish a end-to-end tsunami early warning and mitigation system in the Indian Ocean region. So that was when the ICG, it's called the Intergovernmental Coordination Group for the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System, that was established to actually coordinate with all the countries in the region, all the stakeholders within the region and outside the region to work together.
The Early Warning Center sends advisories to the Ministry of Home Affairs and State Emergency Operations Centers through satellite, phone, fax, SMS and email. Today, thanks to these robust early warning systems, India and other Indian Ocean countries are much better prepared to handle such disasters.
From a nation caught off guard in 2004 to a global leader in tsunami preparedness today, India has come a long way. The establishment of the National Disaster Management Authority symbolizes India's commitment to safeguarding its people against future calamities. With camera person Piyush, this is Tapush Bhattacharya signing off for GD India from Hyderabad.
On to business updates now. The Japanese government has approved a record national budget of 122.3 trillion yen for the next fiscal year beginning April 2026. The massive spending plan will fund higher defense outlays and rising social security costs as Japan continues to grapple with persistent inflation. The move has also raised market concerns that Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's expansionary spending agenda could further add to the country's already heavy public debt burden. Asian markets posted modest gains on Friday in thin holiday trading, with several exchanges still closed for the Boxing Day holiday. Gold continued to hover around its record high, while silver surged to $75 an ounce for the first time. Regional stocks extended their upward rise after Wall Street saw US shares close at a record high this week. Most markets across the world were shuttered Thursday for Christmas. Major Asian indices including Tokyo, Shanghai, Seoul and Taipei all advanced as markets continued year-end rallies amid expectations of Santa Claus rally, where prices tend to rise during the last 5 days of December and the first 2 days of the new year. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. A dominant India will look to seal the 5-match series with another ruthless display when it takes on a low-on-confidence Sri Lanka in the third Women's T20 International in Thiruvananthapuram on Friday. India were outstanding with both bat and ball in the first and second T20Is, registering comprehensive 8-wicket and 7-wicket wins respectively to underline its overall dominance over Sri Lanka. It was India's 9th win in its last 11 T20Is against Sri Lanka, which last tasted victory against the host in July 2024 at Dambulla. And England made full use of winning the toss and opting to bowl as Australia were bundled out for just 152 on the opening day of the 4th Test in Melbourne. The final wicket fell just before the tea break, with Scott Boland dismissed for a golden duck caught in the slips of Josh Tongue, completing a dominant bowling performance by England. Josh Tung was the standout bowler, finishing with impressive figures of 5 for 45 from 11.2 overs. He was well supported by Gus Atkinson, who picked up 2 wickets, while Bryden Cars and captain Ben Stokes claimed 1 wicket each. Cameron Green was run out, adding to Australia's woes on a green top pitch that heavily assisted the bowlers. Michael Nessa top scored with 35, while Usman Khawaja made 29. Alex Carey scored 20 and Green contributed 17. With Australia already holding a 3-0 unassailable lead in the series. Meanwhile, England crumbled to 38 for 4 in reply to Australia's 152. Ben Duckett, Jacob Bethel and Zach Crawley fell inside first 5 overs of England's innings. Golf now. In a remarkable comeback, India's golfing legend Jeev Milkha Singh ended a 13-year title drought by clinching victory at the IGPL Invitational Sri Lanka. Jeev Milkha Singh provided the inaugural edition of the IGPL a dream finish as he beat a host of young and experienced stars. The IGPL win marked Jeev's first professional victory since 2012 Scottish Open. As Jeev won his maiden IGPL title, Pukrat Singh Gill won the IGPL Order of Merit by a razor-thin margin over Aman Raj and Gaganjeet Bhullar. Seven-time Africa Cup of Nations champions Egypt will face South Africa in their second match of the 2025 tournament on Friday. This is going to be an intense outing which will take place at the Adrar Stadium. Egypt secured a late win against Zimbabwe in their opening game of the African competition. They look good in the attacking front but still will need to work hard if they want to extend their winning run. The Egypt national football team have capable players and will be keen to secure a victory. South Africa are coming in after securing a win against Angola. They put in a good amount of effort which helped them back 3 important points. Now the upcoming fixture of the AFCON 2025 is going to be a challenging one for the South Africa national football team. Now, Christmas marked with prayers and traditions across the world, from Pope Leo XIV first Christmas blessing at the Vatican to King Charles' call for compassion in London and midnight mass in Bethlehem. Leaders and communities everywhere shared messages of peace and hope, reminding us that while customs may differ, the spirit of Christmas unites people across continents.
On the occasion of Christmas, Pope Leo XIV delivered his first Christmas address and Urbi et Orbi message as the pontiff from St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican. Speaking before a crowd of around 26,000 in St. Peter's Square, he called for peace, solidarity and compassion for victims of conflicts around the world.
From the child of Bethlehem, we implore peace and consolation for the victims of all current wars in the world, especially those that are forgotten.
From the Lady Chapel in Westminster Abbey, central London, the British monarch King Charles III called for compassion, reconciliation at a time of division across the world in his annual Christmas Day message.
With the great diversity of our communities, we can find the strength to ensure that right triumphs over wrong. It seems to me that we need to cherish the values of compassion and reconciliation, the way our Lord lived and died.
In the Bethlehem, Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa led Christmas midnight mass at the Church of Nativity in the city revered as the birthplace of Jesus. Christmas was also celebrated across the world. Syrian Christians marked the day in Damascus with youth parades and mass in the Old City. Carols filled with streets of Kiev as hundreds in traditional costumes gathered near St. Michael's Church. In Germany, the faithful braved the freezing temperatures of -8 degrees for a Christmas Day dip in Berlin's Oranienkäse Lake, a tradition lasting 40 years. And in India, Goa's streets and churches glowed with festive lights as locals and visitors sang carols, admired decoration and attended Christmas Mass. From solemn prayers in Bethlehem to joyful tradition across the continent, Christmas 2025 unfolded with a message of peace, hope and unity around the world. Bureau Reports, DD India.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.